Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's November 13th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And really, it was an uptrend all day. We started trending higher right before the regular session opening, and we really trended higher all day. And notice that this is a real tight, steep trend, and that's too steep. Um, Even we may not reverse, but at the very least, we're probably going to get a break of that and then a flatter channel afterwards. And you can see we do get a flatter channel here, and there is a midline in this one as well. You can see that really right up through there. It's right in that area somewhere, right in there. So yeah, basically this is just too steep, and so we're going to go flatter. And all three of these green ones here are really close to being blue. You could just about argue for all of them to be blue. They're just right there on the cusp. But there's some reasons to be a little bit concerned about them, so I'm going to leave them green. But you could really make the argument for all of them to be blue as well. So they're just right there. And so, but let's talk about the trades, and we'll go from there. I was unsure if this was the channel or if this was a midline. I believe it's probably a midline, and we just couldn't get down, and so then you get your break. But you could have still just played it as a channel with an overshoot, and then you get your break. You get the same thing either way, and then you get two legs to a new low. And look how long we've been away from the EMA, since before 3 in the morning, my time, and down here it's now 8 in the morning, right before they open. So that's 5 hours that we've been away from that EMA. That's a long time. We're going to come back soon. Um, you're trying to pick a bottom here though by going long here, but notice this is a higher low. It's a double bottom and a really nice bullish bar. I like that one just to take it back to the EMA. And the main thing is a lot of times these will catch a major low, or if it's on the other side, a major high. And if you catch this, you ride this all day. I mean, even if you just rode it till the break of this channel, that was the only trade you needed today. And you know, you made you several points there. And so I like these kind of trades. Um, you need to really be good at the price action to understand what's going on here. But if you see what's happening here, I like that based on the way I described it. Um, and of course, notice there's a new low, and it's the first entry and then a second entry right there. It really broke higher here, but there's a lot of resistance right across there. And so that made me really leery about going long right into those highs. Well, I can't seem to get my line straight across there. But anyway, you see it right there. There's some resistance right across there. Um, so I'm really leery of that one. And even here, you don't have enough room. But when it breaks higher again here, that's a second entry long. Notice that new high, first entry, pullback, second entry. So that gives you another reason to like it. And by that time, I like jumping on that one. And that sets your trend line. So when it comes back again here, notice that's a double bottom, so you can treat that like a new low. So that's your two measured legs now, and a failed second entry short. So I really like this one. This was probably the safer one. Generally, it's a better play when it comes back to the EMA, but the trend line's too steep there, and it's just right at the trend line. So I like that one. And then it comes back again to the trend line, and by this time, this is a very strong trend. You're starting to see the lots of little bars and the dojis, and just every little correction is just a chance to get on. But we've been away from the EMA a little while, and just like here, eventually it's going to reverse. But we haven't had a close outside, and that bounced right off the trend line. And really, we've not been back to the upper side yet. So there's a good chance before we reverse, we're going to touch that upper side if the trend is really continuing higher. So I like that one, but there's enough reasons to be concerned about that it's just right there at the cusp of being blue or green. And so I made it green because there's not a lot of room between that high. Although you got to guess at this point we're probably headed to test these highs. But But you can see even once we did test them, we corrected quite a bit and we're at a much flatter angle than we were here. It's just a very steep trend. It's probably not going to last much longer. So, and the later you wait in the trend to try to get long, the bigger chance you might get a failure. But I like that one, so I'm going to at least mark it green. We finally come up here and we turn down and get a close outside. We go up, we make a double top, but you don't want to be thinking short yet. It's way too early. That looks really bearish, and it would have worked, but you don't want to be going short yet. That's the first close outside, and we didn't get quite a new high. We haven't tested the overnight high. So we may just get another leg back. I was surprised. The only reason this one is not blue is because how bearish that sell-off is. And we pushed right through the EMA. We didn't really get support there at the previous lows, and we made a new low. That's usually your first sign that the market is reversing. And so that makes that one a little bit scary, but that is still 2 legs back to the EMA after a really strong trend. And there's a good chance we may correct a little bit and then continue higher again or just go sideways as we continue to test that top. But we could reverse right there too, because you do get some resistance there. I don't have this line on here, but you should be able to see it without me. You can see that resistance right there. So that makes me a little concerned, but about maybe we're just going to go sideways here and this is going to be a range day, but we're still not to the overnight highs. And so I like this. This is still 2 legs back to the EMA. It's a little bit risky for all the reasons I just said, so I'm only going to leave it green. And then we work up. This is, notice there's 3 attempts to go higher there, and we just barely went higher, and we're a good bit away from the EMA. But it's still dangerous going short in this uptrend, especially the fact that we made a new high after that lower low. We should have made a lower high here and then turned down again, but instead we go up and make a new high. We saw this same pattern just a day, last week sometime. I can't remember where we saw this. Let me see if I can find that. But we saw that somewhere last week where, well, I can't remember where it was. Right here. Here it is. Notice we made that high, and then we made that lower low. We ran back up and made another higher high. So we saw that same pattern a week or so ago. So if you remembered that, that may have given you a little more reason to think, hey, I've seen this before. But you don't really know it's the same pattern until it makes this new high. And it did sell off last time, so you might have considered selling right here and treating that like a failed break higher, especially after a break and a new high. But still, you're almost always better to wait on that lower high. This would have worked, but I don't recommend it here because we're still working higher, and you may get another leg. That's your first leg up to a new high, so you may get another one. And let's just see if we measure that what it looks like. There's your first leg. And you can see that that's basically what we got. We went a couple of ticks higher than a measured move up, and then it reversed. So I don't really think you want to go short right there or right here. And then, of course, we start working higher again. We're still making higher highs, higher lows. It's a little bit tempting to go long right here, but you don't. It's just too. That's a very neutral bar, and then this is just a real small bar inside that. So I think you got to sit tight there. And then we make another new high, and then a higher low. And note, if you drew that trend line right off those closes there, it bounces right there, and this is like a breakout pullback. And this is really a second entry long. It doesn't break higher here, but you can see it comes down. It tries to go higher, pulls back, and then goes higher again. So on a smaller chart, you would see a second entry. I like that one just simply because notice this is a new low. It's lower than that one. First entry short, second entry short. So it's a failed second entry short. It's a form of a hidden second entry long. just several reasons why I like that one. A fairly bullish bar, and it fits the trend line up through there. So I like that one just to push up and try to make a second leg up, which was somewhere right in here a while ago. I can't remember where, and maybe to test these highs. And then notice that all those matching lows, when that drops lower there, that's also like a little failed break lower. But another thing is that's like a new low there. And you know, we always talk about those new lows and kind of a failed break lowers, that type thing, catching an important low. And that turns out to be an important low right there. It's not like this one down here, but it's still on a smaller scale. It's an important low right there. And it takes off. And so since that is a new low, because of those matching lows, really a double bottom there, you can see all those matching lows. That's like a new low. And so then you get a first entry short and a second entry short. This is after 2 o'clock, so I made it green. And we're not back to the highs yet. And really at that point, I wasn't sure if the highs may not be up here somewhere. And so you had a long way to go yet. In the end, I think they're right across there. So with that just being barely after 2 o'clock, you might want to take that. But I drew this arrow right here because somebody asked me about a short right here. He sent me an email, and he was treating that like a failed break higher. Well, at this point, we're making higher highs and higher lows, and you've even got a short-term trend right here. It's still working higher. You've got the bigger two-tiered, I just can never grab the right line. The bigger two-tiered channel working higher. There's just a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to go short right there. You're just trying to guess at a top right there. And so I don't see any reason to consider a short there. You might have considered one back over here, and that would have been it. Once we kept making these higher highs and higher lows, and even as we're working up through here, it's higher highs and higher lows. And we're getting back to that look again right in here too, of where you get lots of little bars that keep going higher and dojis mixed in there. And that's another thing. If you look, that's definitely a doji. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 bars stacked up there, side by side. You definitely don't want to be going short there. That's congestion. You're not that far away from the EMA really either. Now this is getting pretty far away from the EMA here, but also your little short time channel's played out, and you've gotten to the high of what looks like the high of this secondary channel here. So and noticed it went higher in turns, it goes out the other side. That, if you're going to go short, that's what you want to see, something like that, not something going sideways here. Hopefully that makes sense, but if anything, you want to go long right there, not short, because there's of course when you go short here, it's not a failed second entry short. It looks like you're maybe a weak second entry short setting up, but they love to do that to people, trying to pick tops and trying to pick top bottoms, trapping them in, and then taking it back with the trend. So keep that in mind. But anyway, it wasn't a bad day. It's still not a lot of trades today. We actually had some movement, some pretty good movement, some fairly decent volume, but there's just still not a lot of setup. So again, you could argue for both of these to be blue. Probably not this one. This one's still, for all the reasons I explained, I liked it, but you probably can't really argue for that one to be blue. But these two, you really could. So if you just caught one of any of these trades, you probably did okay today, because all of them moved multiple points, and just about every one of them would have had a runner as well. So keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow, but I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.